guys, welcome to Cigar Lounge Cigar Talk Show. I am your host, Aaron Paoletta, and finally, after all these episodes, I'm joined with Johnny. Can't wait to go on vacation, Hunter. And no, we're not filming outside today because it is fucking cold. We are actually headed to Tampa because we're filming with JC Newman. Hey guys, finally after, I don't know, what was that, 80 hours in the car? 17 hours in the car. 17 hours in the car, and our friend Dale letting us get cleaned up. We are finally here in Tampa, Florida, getting ready to visit the JC Newman factory, and they are actually waiting for us for this tour. So let's head inside. Hey guys, I'm here with you said you're a historian for JC Newman. His name is Holden. And real quick, I just wanted you to go through, because Ben, bring that over here real quick. We have some collectibles in here, but these collectibles are actually for sale.
Right, so with the exception of this Pleasure Day with Quest Array lighter, all of these items in here are JC Newman, Newman family property, historic ashtrays, vintage ST DuPont lighters, old labels, bands, and well, these are pretty new, but leather diamond crown cases, and they were all used by the Newman family at one point or another.
Now, I gotta ask you real quick, this one here, this golden, actually whatever that is, that's beautiful. What's the story behind that one?
Wormwood look. So all these lighters were used by Newman family members. That one in particular, it was property of the Newman family and allegedly used by Stanford Newman, and it's a vintage ST DuPont lighter. So part of the many offerings of the, yes it does.
It works?
Soft flame. I think if you turn it up, it's a twin flame. It might be a single flame. Let me crank this sucker up. We will see. Well, let me do the ping too. There we go. And that is a very intense burn. I should probably turn it down a little bit. There we go.
Oh, it is?
Yeah,
Cool.
twin flame.
And that's for sale?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Can I buy it?
Yes, you can.
Mine. Cool. Let's go do our tour. What do you got in here? Somebody get me out of here. I'm going to steal all this. Oh, dude. Smell that?
But honestly, when we buy tobacco here, we're buying stuff for regular production, we're buying stuff for long-term storage, we're buying...
These are done, ready to go out. I mean, if these are done, we can take them, right? Help them get them out the door?
It was up to code in 1910, but the code's changed, you know? Anyways, we're going up these stairs. If you're wondering about all the boxes they made in China, they're cigar cutters, lighters, and ashes. They're not tobacco. Although there is a company out there called Great Wall Cigar Company. They make cigars that time in tobacco.
What do you think, Johnny?
I think that I want to start. It smells amazing.
Trash.
Make a black and mild. Oh wait, that's on camera. Me saying big tobacco hot dogs. Uh-oh. Edit that out. We're not making backwoods up here. We're not making black and mild. The cigars are a lot higher in quality. Why? Well, for starters, the filler is all Fuente short filler. So whenever the Fuente make a handmade cigar, the scraps get turned into short filler for our cigar. The wrapper is a naturally wrapper, and it's what we got from downstairs. So with a But that's the red bus. Come on behind the yellow line. So that's Noy. And Noy is making a 7 1/4 by 52 Churchill. That's TC. Hi, TC. Yeah, she can't hear me. She's making a 5 1/2 by 50 Robusto with a Maduro wrapper. This is Maria. She's making an 8 by 52 double Corona. And then behind me is Dang, and Dang is making a 6 by 36 Panatella. So we make different cigars up here, but they're not all the same. So feel free to look at any machine. Just don't buy that blonde lady. Linda's very shy, and she will kill me if people go over there and bother her. But yeah, feel free to look at any machine. They're doing the exact same function. So the filler goes in the back. We bunch that up, roll it into a... Listen, it's history. I don't make the rules. But yeah, they're all hard to work. All the music was except for Diana. Everybody's doing it. This is the old factory, right? Anyway, it's a beautiful machine.
Yes, I did.
So what's wrong with these? Something wrong with that box?
Very well. So, yeah, they get to be artists. They get to play around with really cool tobacco, make some really fun cigars. And we're just trying to do it because, hey, we don't need a handmade factory in Tampa anymore. We can just make all the Nicaragua and do all the work for us. But we choose to have it here because we like the idea of making small batch, boutique stuff in the same building where we were making for about 100 years. So it's historical. We need to be the ambassadors and stay in there. So, yeah, if we don't do it, it will. So to start off with, if you're making a handmade cigar, you're going to be doing what Sommelier is doing, which is luncheon tobacco. So if you've never seen this before, this is definitely the more technical, difficult part of making a cigar. And it's why in Cuba they train their workers about 2 years before they start rolling cigars by hand. You need to be able to feel out how much tobacco and filler is efficient for making a cigar. So this is what a cigar looks like before it's pressed. It looks like a loose leaf. And inside are the different types of filler tobacco we're using. Those are basically different names for different burn rates of the tobacco. We call them priming because of different layers. So basically, once you cure,
Amazing.
harvest, cure, and ferment tobacco, some burn fast. Scratch one of these here. If you want one of these here, go for it. But it takes almost 30 years. So they know what they're doing. So we brought something to the American name as well. So the American rollers are beginning in the week. They're the only people that touch the American. The Angel Quest rollers and the 3 foot back here. So the neat and how red is closed. And then I'm looking at the column. A couple different brands, a couple different shapes. That's not Tampa. Yeah, Stanford would always smoke other people's cigars, and you could tell when we had a better cigar because he'd be smiling while he smoked it. But sometimes he frowns. So. Yeah, lots of neat stuff, and this stuff will be here forever. Or, you know, at least until the new ones want to come down here and smoke it. Some of this stuff isn't even that old. We got the gas grill cigar from last year. If you don't know what gas grill is, it's a giant fire parade in Tampa we have over here. So we sell these local humidors, local cigar shops. So you can pick them up, be a pirate for the rent per day. But the cigars in this room and the tobacco in this room, like I said, it's part of the Newman collection. So yeah, we don't sell this. We don't part with it very easily. And it'll fit in here.
But you do part of it.
With the lighters, we call it the lighters, but not with the cigars. So. Which honestly, with how many cigars you produce a year, like 500 million, 700 million, things would be more than out there. But I guess people must smoke them. That's what you do with old cigars, right? As for the other cigars in this room, we've got production cigars, which really in this room.
Cigars we have plenty of. That's not one. That's an easy problem to solve. Good. That's okay.
Because of the smell and the collection you guys have. Hey guys, we're here inside of JC Newman. Actually, we just finished the tour, but we have the distinct pleasure here today of meeting with Drew Newman, and he's actually going to explain this room that we're in because this is their aging room. So we specifically requested to come down here for that reason, Drew, and I appreciate you.
No problem. We don't do a lot of interviews down here, or a lot of photos down here in our aging room.
And that's the problem because the moment they open the door and we walk in here, and just the smell and the collection you have in here, I have to have you talk about it.
Of course. So down here we have 150,000 hand-rolled cigars, and they're simply sleeping. The cigars, after they're rolled, need to be aged, and aging does a couple of things. One, it lets the humidity that we put into cigar tobacco that allow the leaves to bend and be rolled, allows that humidity to slowly leave the cigars so they can be really smokable. And it also allows the flavors and the different tobaccos that we use in each blend to marry together and just become rich and vibrant. And so this is where we let our cigars sleep and age for, depending upon the blend, 6 months to a year.
Now, I'm a huge advocate for aging, and actually, for those of you who've seen this show before, all 3 seasons of it, know that Mr. K is the one that got me into aging. So when I age, and I'm specifically going to target your American here.
Okay.
I bought the American when it first came out.
Thank you.
Okay. Oh no, I bought more than that. I bought the American when it first came out. But what I did was the same thing I do with every other box. I buy a box, I smoke one immediately.
Okay.
6 months later,
Good.
I smoke another.
Yeah.
A year after that, I smoke another. Although in the American, the strength goes down when you age it, the flavor intensifies.
That's
just
what
after
happened. Yeah.
just after that 1 year, the flavor was double what it was. So that's odd coming from tobacco that was grown entirely in the U.S. because other countries are more tropical, they have way more nutrients and way more flavor. But if you let that age a little bit, it's fantastic. So I'm curious, have you done that with your own cigars?
Well, that's how we make cigars. I'll let me get that in a second. But I'll say that cigar that you opened up out of the box, if you got the box right when we shipped it from here in Tampa to the store, that cigar already has a year of aging on it. And so from the moment that we roll the Americans upstairs here in El Rolo, we age them in our aging room here for a year before we re-inspect them and check them again and color sort them and band and pack them. So that cigar already had a year of age, and so you're actually adding a second year of age to it, which makes it even better.
Now, when we were upstairs, okay, and we believe we have footage, so we'll put that footage in here now, but you had your girls up there she was doing the bands on these.
Yes.
Okay. So those bands that she was putting on them, there weren't actually the ones that were being rolled. They were the ones from
absolutely
from aging.
Exactly. Cigars are being rolled, come down on the 3rd floor, come down here to be aged, and then they go back up to upstairs to be banded after at least a year. In fact, every bundle here, every wheel has a production card that tells us. So let's see, these were interesting. These were an American, and these were rolled on February 16th, 2022. So
now these are going to sit
a year
for
ago.
Oh wow!
And so there's no hard and fast rules. There's no textbook, no diploma. It's a craft, and so these cigars are ready to come up. We could bring them up today, tomorrow. We'll be very comfortable with it, but we probably don't need them right now.
So there's no harm in letting them.
No, not at all. They'll just get
sleep.
better.
Sleep, as you say.
They'll sleep. Exactly.
Because it's too bad we don't have smell-o-vision, because they're talking in their sleep, because it smells beautiful in
It
here.
does.
Now,
that's how you know it's working.
Oh, yeah.
If the aging room didn't smell like this, it wouldn't be working.
Now, is it just Americans in here, or do you have a variety? So what all do you have in this aging room?
All the wheels that are wrapped in black are the Americans. So that's what we have on these rows over here. We have some specialty samples over there, but behind you, actually wrapped in red, is a cigar that we're getting ready to introduce that I need to give you. It's our Angel Cuesta cigar. It's a cigar I'm smoking right now. And so we rolled those. Some of these maybe, let's see how new some of these are. These were rolled last November, but we started rolling these about 10 months ago. And it's a beautiful cigar, different blend, Ecuador Havana seed wrapper with a Cameroon binder, and a mix of Nicaraguan and Caribbean fillers.
Now, you talked about, it's not a science, it's more of a craft. I have to ask you, and I haven't actually asked anybody that I've interviewed yet, what's it like being a part of a legacy that you are? Because you were born into this, but you're choosing to continue.
Sure. So I didn't choose to be born into this family business, but I am choosing to stay and carry it on, hopefully for the next 50 years. But my great-grandfather started a company in 1895, and just through a matter of luck, I was born into my family. And here I am. But because we're a real family business that's now on to its fourth generation, I've grown up here. I walk the halls of El Reloj. I used to run the basement when I was a little kid, all around here. And so I've grown up around our company, around the tobacco, around the cigars, and our business, which helps me carry it forward because I've listened and learned and watched and observed for several decades now.
See, and I think that's just, it's beyond fantastic to continue this on, because when you look at the history, and you're the oldest?
Yes,
Oldest?
the fourth generation, the
Fourth
oldest.
generation, okay. And this company is the oldest in the United States.
It is, yes. We're
Okay.
127 years old, and so the
127 years
oldest
old.
cigar company in the United States. And this is actually the last traditional cigar factory still operating in America. So there's not many other people doing what we're doing.
That's amazing, and I am a huge I'm hugely fascinated with history. It's one of the things that me and and Johnny were talking about throughout this whole process. But I have something that if I can get out of my pocket, I have something that I'd like for you to see before I take it out of here. I was told that this was your grandfather's.
Okay.
So this is
Yes, absolutely. It's my grandfather's one of his old lighters.
so
It's a beautiful ST DuPont. It's in perfect condition.
They already put some fuel in it, made sure that it fired up. Didn't
Nice.
realize that it was a double flame, which I've been trying to track down. But because I am such a lover of history, I mean, I'm not going to say what I paid for it, but it's worth it to preserve it.
Yeah.
So I would
absolutely.
just
It's a piece of history.
I wanted to let you know this is going into good hands. I wanted
Well,
you to see
thank
it
you.
before it heads out the door.
You
back
would
to
put a
Pennsylvania.
big smile on my grandfather's face, knowing that his lighter is going to be enjoyed for many years to come.
Oh,
Because
it will.
cigars are made to be shared, are made to be enjoyed, and the tradition has been passed down from generation to generation, and now we're passing this lighter down from my grandfather to you, from one generation
Wow.
to the next. And so thank you for carrying it forward, and I hope that when you use a lighter, you'll think not only of El Reloj, but also my grandfather and our four-generation
Well,
tradition.
I will, and that's one of the reasons why I show you, because you do talk about cigars in that way, and the first cigar that I'm going to smoke, because we haven't had one. We skipped our morning cigar to come here, but the cigar that I light today will be with us, and I will
Thank
be
you.
lighting a Newman.
Thank
so
you.
I just wanted you to see that
Thank
right
you so
before
much.
it
What
has
an
out the door.
honor. What an honor.
Now, one more thing, because I know you're a busy guy. We cannot leave without without us going to see across the hall
Yeah.
here. I need you to talk about
Of
some
course.
of this stuff, because I was drooling. Actually,
Yeah.
I think we were all drooling while we were over there.
Absolutely, this is our aging room. This is the only cigar aging room, cedar line like this in the United States. But across the hall is the only really archive of old cigars in the world. And so we've got something really special that dates back more than 100 years.
Would you mind explaining
Yeah.
that briefly?
I'll take you a tour.
Oh, all
Let's
right,
open up the
let's head
gates.
Oh, look, they already left the gate open
They
for
left the
us.
gate open, so we're ready to go. So, as a four-generation family business that my great-grandfather started in 1895, we've made millions and millions of cigars over the years, and we've saved many of them. And so, something that our family has that's unique is not only a 127-year legacy of cigar making, but also 127 years of cigars with our name on them. And so what we've done here is we've put on display examples of my family's cigars for more than a century. So here on the middle row, all throughout our cigar vault, is a timeline of cigars. And it really starts right behind you with these beautiful cigars, something that you've never seen before and will likely never see again. It's a sampler's case that is made of cigars made here in Tampa from 1906. And there are 20 different vitolas. 1906, it's 2023 now, 117 years old, and these are beautiful. They're in pristine condition. Still with original bands on them, a complete set, 100 cigars, 20 different vitolas, and this was how cigar salesmen sold cigars 100 years ago. They would take. I'm sorry?
They're still smoking.
They're absolutely smokable. We could light one up right now, but we're not going to because then
Well,
the set would be ruined.
Boy, he had me going there, man. I thought he was gonna light one up.
Never. No, these cigars are part of our museum collection.
And
they're
I was actually going to
beautiful.
ask you if you guys ever would light up some of the stuff that's in here.
Absolutely, we do. I wouldn't touch this. I wouldn't touch some of our oldest cigars. Absolutely, cigars are like wine. They need to be aged, and they get better with age. But also like wine, there is a point where the flavors start to diminish. So those Americans that were aged for a year before you got them, and then you aged them for another year, and they got even better, they'll continue getting better for a few more years. But after about 10, 15 years, the flavors will start to dissipate and fade away. And so these old cigars are absolutely smokable, but the flavors in them are not
So
going to
the
be.
flavor that the blender was originally going for is probably not going to be there.
That's exactly right. And also, so cigars have trended in several directions. One, they're much larger today than they were a century ago. And then two, they're much stronger than they were a century ago. And so the fuller flavored cigars that we enjoy today should age longer than the milder cigars that were made in the 80s and the 60s and the 50s and so forth.
That's interesting. So you learn a little bit something here about aging.
But we start here in 1906 and continue with some of my great-grandfather's cigars from the teens. You've heard the expression, every man needs a 5-cent cigar. These are nickel cigars that we sold from my great-grandfather's original factories with imported Havana tobacco and hand-rolled.
That's amazing. I wish they were still 5 cents.
Yeah. I wish that was what it cost.
Getting pretty expensive nowadays.
Usually bands can cost more than 5 cents, so like it's a mess. But what I want to show here is the evolution in cigars and cigar packaging, and it's really highlighted right here because these cigars are from the 1960s, and what you see are my grandfather's old Cuesta Palmer Supreme cigars. And while at first these boxes on the left and on the right look the same, there's one important difference. And the important difference is the ones on the left were made before the Cuban embargo in 1962, and the ones on the right were made afterwards. Because you can see before the embargo, they were made with Cuban tobacco. They were Cuban cigars rolled here in Tampa. And then after the embargo, when President Kennedy said we couldn't import more Cuban tobacco, we started switching to other tobaccos from around the world. So we go from the 1906 to the teens, the 20s, the 30s, the 60s, on to the 70s, and then around. But we have a beautiful collection of old cigars, historic cigars, and there's nothing like this anywhere else in
So
the world.
I got to ask you because you're talking about the red batch inside. Do you put a couple red batches in here?
These are all just samples. Let's see where these are rolled. Yeah, these are some test cigars that we rolled last week.
So they're just, because they were a test batch, you're just going to keep them in here
Yeah.
as part of
These are
history.
It's part of history. Also, to be quite honest, just from inventory management, all the cigars in the aging room are accounted for, even though they're just tracked by paper cards. We know where all of them are. We know how many should be there. We know how many different types. These cigars are just tests and samples and different blends, and so they're not in our inventory. So for simply ease of inventory management, we're storing our samples here. And
Gotcha. I just didn't know if they were going to become a part of this museum in here. That's why I was curious about those.
they're just samples.
Okay. Is there anything on, because we're going up in years here,
Sure.
is there anything you want to highlight?
Yeah, I'll highlight. These are our 100th anniversary cigars from 1995. These are original Diamond Crowns that were introduced for our 100th anniversary, and they still have the original imprint on it from JC Newman Cigar Company, 1895 to 1995. So this is when Diamond Crown was relaunched for our centennial year. You might be familiar with the Cigar Family Charitable Foundation that my father and Carlito Fuente founded in 2002. We have an annual fundraiser every year where we donate a 2-pack of limited edition cigars and they're sold, and all the proceeds go to help support the low-income children in the Dominican Republic. And these are a collection of the toast packs starting in 2006 all the way to the present. And then we have.
Would that have anything to do with the charity box that they put out? Is that a part of that?
Which charity?
The Fuente charity box? Because you guys take care of Fuente
yeah,
as well.
absolutely. Yeah, exactly. That's part of the package.
Okay, because I bought a box of the charity in 21.
21.
And I'm afraid
Nice.
to smoke. I'm afraid to smoke the rest of them because some of you just can't get.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I was curious if that.
They're
that
limited
was,
edition
that was part of
cigars, and so it's a special collection that we have down here, and you can't find this anywhere else in the world because we're the oldest cigar company still in operation. So we're the ones that have the archives of our products from 30 years ago, 50 years ago, 75 years ago, and it's a special piece of history here. But I couldn't leave this room without showing what's right behind here. Hopefully, you saw this earlier. But what this is this is the last bale of pre-embargo Cuban tobacco in the United States. When just like today, we have a very large inventory of tobacco that we age before rolling it into cigars, and the same was true back 60 years ago. The process hasn't changed how to make a cigar, and so when the Cuban embargo was enacted, we had a large inventory of Cuban tobacco and continued using it until we had to switch the blends and switch the packaging. But my grandfather wanted to save the very last bale, and this is now the very last bale of pre-embargo Cuban tobacco in the United States.
That is cool that you.
It's a great piece of history,
have that, though.
and we're not going to use it.
Still legally roll this?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it was legally imported in 1961, and
So this is really just kept for historic sake.
That's
That's
it's a
sweet.
piece of our family history and a piece of the cigar history of the cigar industry in Tampa.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is there anything else, whether it's in this room or in this building, because we did do the entire tour, is there anything else you want to highlight for people who may not know?
Sure. So what I would say is this building, our historic El Reloj Cigar Factory, is the last operating cigar factory in the United States, and it's 112 years old. And as you've seen, as we've all talked about, it's like walking back in time here. Everything we do, my family's been doing for 50 years, 100 years, and it's our goal to keep the tradition of American cigar making alive here. We have a factory in Nicaragua. We're partners with the Fuente family in the Dominican Republic. There's incredible cigars made in the Dominican Republic, Honduras, Nicaragua, elsewhere. But the United States has a rich tradition and history of cigars that dates back to 1612. George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, they grew tobacco. Tobacco was grown in all 13 colonies at the time of the American Revolution. Tobacco, cigar tobacco, is a true American crop. And if this factory closed, if we stopped rolling cigars here, I would worry that tradition would be lost. And so it's a privilege for us as an American company, as a 127-year-old family business, to keep El Reloj open and keep rolling cigars here in the United States and have tours and tastings and cigar rolling classes so we can keep the tradition alive and help cigar enthusiasts understand that there are great cigars from around the world. There's also great cigars in the United States, and the United States has a rich tradition of cigar making.
That's fantastic. John, do you have anything you want to add?
Just thank you for the family history and
Thank you for visiting us.
Yeah,
I'm
gonna say, on behalf of myself, Johnny Five, and Vince and Evan. I mean, this was absolutely worth the 17-hour drive to come down here.
Thank you, guys.
You guys couldn't have been more hospitable. We had a fantastic time. I truly.
Well, it's a real privilege to have
appreciate
you guys down here, and just hope that your viewers, your friends, would love to have you guys come back and
I
take one of our
highly
cigar rolling
recommend
classes.
everyone comes down and takes this tour. This tour was absolutely fantastic. The history in here, and you're an empath. You can feel the love when you walk into this building. It was very welcoming.
Thank you.
Unfortunately, back to the winter in Pennsylvania. Thanks everybody for watching.
Not decorative. And then I brought down for you some Orlando questions. They plastic bag. I just pulled them off the table, but I didn't dissolve it yet. I wanted you guys to try these too. These are brand new. We just started releasing them literally yesterday. So thank you.
Well, that'll be going in my book.
Thank you, Aaron.
Dude, I appreciate it.
I'll be smoking that tonight.
Actually, yes, I'll be lighting that with your silver
Thank you. Oh, that's sick.
Drew, you're signing that you met them.
Apparently.
I told you, man, I collect stuff, history. This is the new wave of Newman coming through here.
Thank you, Aaron. Thank you so much.
I was gonna say,
JC Newman.
don't